So happy St. Patty's Day.
Oh, that's right.
It is right.
Didn't
You
wear
know why
green.
I know? Because you told me.
That's right. Oh, that's right.
So we're going to do a little St. Patty's Day toast where I pour whiskey and I drink both of them.
Oh. Okay.
Just kidding. There you go, buddy.
Was that Retta from Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
She used to do that.
Mmm.
Woo. There we go.
You like that?
I like me some Johnny Walker.
So if someone was just watching, they would say, Nathan doesn't have any green on.
Nope.
And if they were looking at the view that they currently have right now, they would be correct.
Yes.
I do have green on. I haven't been pinched. But you also have green on.
I do.
Just let them know. It's on your pants.
It's on my pants. It's on the side.
We just take our word for it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let him get by. You know, I wouldn't lie.
No.
So you really do have it.
Yep. And I should have worn my green Chuck Taylors.
You should have.
I was not prepared for this day.
Yeah. I should have been named Patty.
Right?
I should have eaten a hamburger patty.
Here's to everybody we know named Patrick.
Yes. Cheers.
Patrick Stevens.
Yes, that's true. There's a guy that works for me named Patrick.
Patrick.
And he loves St. Patty's Day too.
Patrick McEnroe.
Yeah.
John's brother.
So here's to all the patties out there.
Patty Melt.
Patty Melt. And from Doug, Patty Mayonnaise.
Yep. And Sandy Patty.
Sandy Patty.
She had COVID last year, but now she's better.
You know how we talked about how much I hate mayonnaise? It was hard for me to even say Patty Mayonnaise because I ate a patty with mayonnaise on it and I threw up in the Kohl's parking lot.
You're going to say how much you hate Sandy Patty? You hate Sandy Patty.
Like, there's no reason
No.
to hate Sandy Patty.
No.
But think about it. The patty that I ate had mayonnaise on it. So to say the word patty mayonnaise
Right.
really makes me struggle.
Yeah, I bet.
So anyway, all the patties out there.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Including to the school's chicken patties.
Yes.
Which was on a Monday. On a Monday, chicken patty.
All right. So, hey, I think people, including myself, thought we would forget about The Office. Tally.
Oh.
So for those who did not listen to last episode, I think it was last episode 11,
Yes.
we said in there that we were going to actually do the math and figure out how much you and I have actually watched The Office.
Right.
And I'm
we did
here
that.
to say we didn't.
You did most of that.
I'm just kidding. We did.
Yeah. No, we didn't. You did.
Okay. That's true. But you were there saying that's right
Right.
or that's wrong or try again.
Exactly.
You were basically the coach in Whiplash.
My tempo.
Oh, which by the way, that reminds me. We should play a clip of me and you doing that. Remember when after your wreck, you were getting better?
Oh, yeah.
And so I was yelling at you about like how to get back in shape. I was impersonating the Whiplash guy or whatever. You remember this clip?
I think so.
We're going to put this clip right here. Hey, play like Nathan Cooley.
I'm trying.
Try harder. We got to get you back up to speed. Woo! Attaboy! Wasn't that awesome?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You remember this now?
No.
Well, you're going to remember it after I edit it because it's going to be there.
Right.
But I was basically yelling
I'll remember
at
it
you.
then.
I was
for
like,
sure.
play faster. And you're like, I'm trying. You know? Anyway.
Right.
So
Coming back to me.
we figured out the math. And we're going to tell you
There's
right
a lot
now.
of it.
So I had to write it down. So I started watching The Office every single night starting in like 2007. And I would watch at a minimum 2 episodes a week. You writing it down on your hand?
No, it feels like I have a splinter in my hand. I don't know where I got it from.
I thought you were just like fake writing in your hand.
Yeah, no.
So at least 2 episodes a night for 9 years. Solid. Right?
Right.
So this is kind of a safe bet. Chances are I've actually watched more than what I'm saying right now. But adding that up,
you're ballparking it.
I'm ballparking it, but I'm going under. So you can guarantee I've at least watched this much.
True.
So what I've figured out is that I have watched 8,000 episodes of The Office. I've watched all the way through at least 30 times.
So they were on for 80 years.
For 80 years. I didn't watch 1 through 9 all the way through.
Right.
Because a lot of times when I was watching them all the way through, it was only season 5 was the only thing that existed, or season 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
And me and you both don't like season 8, so we didn't really watch that much.
We watched it when it was on TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's...
Well, and
I didn't go back and watch it over again. I may have one time.
It doesn't have the star of the show.
No.
So it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
And the writing took a lot of liberties that I really did not like.
Weird turns.
But I've watched it about 8,000 particular episodes. But we figured out that you've watched it about 6,200 times.
Yeah.
Which is still astounding.
Yeah. And it was mostly seasons 1 through 7.
Yes.
And because every time Michael left, I would go back to the beginning. I was like, oh, he's back.
Which I figured out. I didn't figure it out for yours. But for mine, that means I've watched 3,000 hours of The Office. That's a lot. And then here is the more shocking part.
Yeah.
I loved the episode Branch Closing.
Yep.
I would watch that almost 6 years in a row. I would watch that episode every night.
Yeah.
Because it made me feel good, blah, blah, blah. Could probably argue I wasn't in a good place mentally. And so it was a safe zone at the end, the end of every night to make me stop thinking or whatever.
Totally get that.
I calculated that I've watched the episode Branch Closing 2,190 times, which is 800 hours.
That's like Blockbuster closing.
So we did promise you that we would calculate it, and we did. There you go.
Nice.
We have watched a crap ton of The Office.
Absolutely.
You watched a lot of Seinfeld too, but nowhere near The Office.
No. And Friends as well, but Office is still, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Because when Friends was on Netflix, that was my go-to show for a while. So I gave The Office a break. But I definitely went back to it.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah.
For sure. And then I had a friend of mine, Mr. Craig Simmons. He is also a tech savvy dude, and he built me a computer that had all of the Friends episodes and all the Office episodes. This is before Netflix had either one of them.
Yeah.
So I had basically the first 5 seasons of Office.
Yeah.
And all of Friends, of course, because
that's what I owned, by the way. I owned seasons 1 through 5, or maybe 6, but I owned them on DVD.
Yeah.
And then after Netflix popped, then we could watch the little bit on there. But long time before Netflix, we were watching it.
Right. And I was watching it on my video iPod as well. So
$400 video iPod, or was it $200?
It's $400 on the episode.
$400, $200 the plasma screen TV, babe.
Yeah. He spent more money on Ryan than he did himself.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So, but yeah. So I watched that a lot. And Branch Closing and The Merger, those 2 episodes back to back. That was the climax of the 3rd season, which is both our favorite seasons.
Yeah.
That's where everything starts to piece together, and there's definitely conflict, but there's also resolution.
Sure.
And and plus, Jim's coming back to see Pam, and Pam was all excited, but he was dating Karen at the time, so there was that.
Yeah.
I don't like Karen.
I also think it was just.
But
I think it was just better jokes. This is better writing. 100%.
Yeah.
They changed. Here's the thing. I think the end of The Office was more like Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
And I think that should be its own show. And it was.
Yep.
Parks and Rec is its own kind of writing and humor, and it works. And as we saw last episode, it's one of my favorites.
Yep.
It's actually in my Rushmore.
Yeah.
But it's not The Office, and that's why I didn't like the end of The Office that much, is because it was totally different.
Yeah.
It was like a lot less awkward and
Yeah.
a lot more like community driven and like not so real. I don't know. It's fine. I like season 7 and I liked season 9.
Right.
But you can't even put those in the same stratosphere as seasons 1 through, well, I would say 2 through 4.
Yeah.
That
was a sweet spot for sure.
My gosh, dude. Even season 4 was great.
Yeah.
With the writer's strike.
The writer's strike
still was good, though.
Yep. Because I think they only ended up having 16 episodes maybe?
I thought it was like 12.
Yeah, it may have been.
It was definitely. If you'd have asked me,
definitely a short season.
If you'd have asked me 6 years ago, I'd have told you exactly how many. So this is the thing.
Yeah.
I've forgotten all of my Office stuff.
Right.
It's one of those, because I feel like someone's like, all right, well then let's go. Let's challenge you.
Yeah.
Well, you'd probably get further than you think now, because I'm not as up on my Office game as I used to be.
Yeah.
But son, if you'd have challenged me back in the day, I would have wiped the floor with anybody.
Yeah.
Unless you brought up season 8.
Yeah.
And then I'm sorry.
And still.
James Spader, it's the only thing I know about season 8.
Right. That's it. And there was a pool party somewhere.
There was a pool party, and Andy Bernard was more of a main character. God, season 8 was awful. It's awful. Anyway.
Yep.
But season 9, they pulled it back together.
Oh, for sure.
I was like, okay,
that's
fine.
one of the best finales.
It is
of all time.
Mine, it is the best finale.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. It was great.
Anyway,
man, so good.
So I was going to tell you about this movie I watched, but I wanted to do it on the podcast and not tell you beforehand.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever heard of the movie About Time? It's got Rachel McAdams in it.
I don't think so.
It's very cool because essentially it is about time travel, but the way it works is
about time.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You ever seen Back to the Future?
Yeah.
Okay, that's time travel.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's very similar, but I actually like this premise, and I want to ask you questions.
Okay.
So this movie made me think of a question to ask you. So let me set it up. So I watched it with the wife because it's sort of a romantic comedy. Mm-hmm. Well, this guy finds out that he can travel back in time, but he can only travel back to his life. So like he couldn't go back and stop Hitler because he wasn't born.
Right.
So he can only travel back in his life.
Okay.
And he can change things, or he cannot change things. So he can go back to 10 minutes ago, or he could go back to yesterday or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's a couple things that he could do. He could just relive it.
Okay.
Because it was great.
Yeah.
Or he could change it a little bit better. So like there's several things where like he was in a job interview and he could go back and change it, or particularly in this movie, it's like he could change his approach to the woman. So he would try to get this woman, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And so he would go back.
Basically Groundhog Day.
Yeah. But he could choose any day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a lot of stealing from other movies, but the way they did it.
Groundhog Life.
Yeah, Groundhog Life. Yeah. And then there was some other weirdness, like once you had a kid, you can only go back to that kid's life.
Oh, okay.
So there were like some weird things like that.
Right.
But this leads me to the question.
Huh.
I wanted to ask you, because I asked my wife, if you had that ability, let's not necessarily change anything.
Okay.
I think that's too dangerous.
Yeah.
If you had the ability to travel back in time, to relive moments in your life, not to change them. And there's obviously times in your life that you would never want to go back to.
Right.
But what is something maybe that you would go back and relive again? That it was just so good to you, whether that's like meeting a friend named Jeremy. I'm just kidding. But it could be meeting someone. It could be a concert. It could be something with your parents, or I don't know what it is, but like what would you go back in time and relive? And it doesn't have to be right. I'm not expecting your number one answer.
Right.
Just say some things that you would be interested in.
Yeah. Well, you brought up concerts. And so when you said that, Audio Slave came to mind.
Okay.
And that was at the Tabernacle in Atlanta. And I went with Rudy, Dustin, Sam, and that concert was so good. We were on like the second balcony.
Yeah.
But we were towards the front. So we were basically right over top of them. There's really not a bad seat in the house. And I just remember just the vibe. And they had just come out with their second album. But I wasn't too familiar with that one.
Yeah.
I was just familiar with the first one. But they were playing songs from the first album. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And they played Shadow on the Sun.
Shadow on the Sun.
This is for you, Cody Keating. But they play the whole song through.
Yeah.
And then there's a reprise at the end. And I hadn't listened to the album in a while. And I totally forgot about it. And they started it. But as soon as they started, I was just like, oh my gosh. And I look over at Sam. I was like, I forgot about this part. He's like, I know. And
so that would be the part that you would specifically go back to.
Yeah.
It's like right before the reprise.
Because it gave me goosebumps, first of all. And then I was just like, just in the moment. And then all I can remember is when he was screaming, Shadow on the Sun. That dude takes the mic out of the mic stand and starts skipping around the mic stand, screaming his guts out.
I love it.
The late, great Chris Cornell.
I love it.
And it was just effortless. And I was like, so I'd stop doing this, and I'm just like, look what he's doing. That's almost inhuman.
Yeah.
Because like the way he sounds and the way he looks is totally
100%.
just opposite.
100%.
And so it just blew my mind. So,
well, that's a good one, because that's kind of what I meant, was like something that you enjoyed.
Yeah.
Another thing about this movie, honestly, probably the best part of the movie was the premise that if you could go back and just relive all of your days again, that you would be happier. Because let's say that me and you had a stressful day today.
Yeah.
Right? And then we finish the day. And then tomorrow we go back and live this day again. We would not be stressed anymore, because we know it all works out.
Right.
We're not stressed. We're not worried. We know how the end happens. And instead of focusing on the tension, you focus on the sweet parts, the stuff that, it's like, I didn't notice that my dog was being adorable today. or
Right.
I wasn't paying as much attention to the taste of the whiskey and all this because I was I was in my head. And,
which is, I'm digging it today, by the way.
yeah. So the whole point was like try to find the small details and focus less on the stress and the tension. So I think for me, I would go visit, like obvious things are like going back and reliving my wedding day and not being so nervous.
Yeah.
And stressed. And so I could maybe remember it because I don't remember it. So that'd be nice to like pay attention to that. Of course, same. I've been to so many like.
But you weren't nervous all day though.
No, not all day, but the wedding I was.
Right.
And
but after the ceremony, you weren't nervous anymore.
No. And really all the way up until I wasn't.
Yeah.
It was just the wedding itself.
Yeah.
And I just can't remember it.
Right.
And so it'd be nice to go back and like relive that.
Yeah.
Also reliving, good, just like good sports games, or something like that, and be like, hey, I wasn't paying attention. I'd like to go sit in that again and notice all the little things.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many options you could choose.
Yeah. Well, you remember crying during your ceremony.
I do.
Like a little normal human being.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, dude. That was a good moment.
Yes. That was something that I didn't do before.
Nope.
I actually, up until then, I had cried maybe once my whole life.
Yeah.
Just kind of grew up, you don't cry.
Oh, yeah.
And then after my papa died, I saw the man of all men, my dad, cry. Mm-hmm. And then he gave me the permission, audibly. He was like, son, I was wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with this.
Yeah.
And so then it was like a fountain. I cry all the time.
Yeah.
Now. But I cry at the sentimental stuff. That's like, oh my gosh, that stuff gets me. But before then, I just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I just didn't do it. And then after I saw my dad release, I was like, all right.
After you found out that it was okay.
Yeah. After I found out it was okay, it's like, all right, I can do this now.
Yeah.
And then at my wedding, like probably if that didn't happen, I probably wouldn't have cried at my wedding. I would have figured out how to tough it out.
Yeah.
Because there's too many people watching.
Right.
But after that moment happened, and, it's weird, but it's like after Dad said it was okay, well, I started crying when I saw her. Because for me, I was like, all right, I've waited my whole life for literally this moment.
Yeah.
And it's right in front of me.
Yeah.
And that was too much for me to handle, so I started crying. And then my dad, who was my best man, puts his hand on my shoulder and he said, hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. In the wedding. And I'm like, well, this is making me cry even more.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So,
but he probably just said it under his breath or whatever.
Yeah, but I heard him.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, yeah, because he was just talking to you.
He basically reached over and cranked the faucet up. Right. Like it was already happening.
Yeah.
He just turned over there and said,
yeah.
Why don't you really cry, son?
Yeah.
And so it was all I could handle. It was just too much.
My dad didn't cry a lot, or doesn't cry a lot. When his dad died, because I was like 7 years old, so I don't remember him crying.
Right.
But I remember because my grandfather was blind. He had diabetes real bad. Got to his eyesight.
Yeah.
And I think he had seen me after I was born once, and then he went blind. He's like saw a picture of me or whatever. And I wasn't ugly.
I was going to say,
but
did the picture make him go blind?
He's like, that's an ugly kid.
Yeah. He's like, looks at the picture.
No, it couldn't have been me.
I can't believe what I can't see anymore.
It couldn't have been me because I was dang cute.
Yeah, that would have been bad for your self-esteem.
But I think he had been suffering from it before, even when I was born. So, not to add, further argument. I was like, I didn't do it. But he had diabetes real bad, and So he went blind, and he died when I was 7 years old, and buried in Waycross, by the way, where
Which
you're
is
from.
interesting.
Yeah.
And that's where my papa and my nana and my granny are buried.
Really?
Yeah.
So, but I don't remember him crying because I was so young.
Yeah.
But I do remember standing beside the casket and telling people, yeah, my grandfather was blind, but now I can see.
Mm.
And my dad just remembers that. And he just tells everybody that. So a 7-year-old kid.
That's pretty tender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So, but I don't remember him crying at that, and, but like growing up at the house, never did until I moved out.
Oh.
Because
Was this last week?
yeah, I got my stimulus and I moved out.
I'm out of here, Dad.
1,400, suck it.
For 4 decades, I've had to put up with your crap, Dad. And I got stimulus. I'm out of here.
Stimulus, which sounds like a disease, but it's not. It's a check. But yeah,
Go ahead.
because during that time, my brother had already left the house. He went to Full Sail.
Yeah.
Didn't stay very long.
I didn't know he went to Full Sail.
Yeah, he went for
cool.
a couple months.
That's pretty cool.
And then dropped out.
Okay. Still cool.
Yeah, exactly. So, but he was the first one to move out, and he's the younger one.
I went to Harvard for a week and I dropped out.
Sweet. Good for you, man.
Yeah. I mean, I was never accepted. I just went there.
Yeah.
And
bought a sweatshirt.
I stayed on campus for like a week.
Yeah.
And then I just got a bullhorn. And I was like, attention! Dropping out of this crap hole.
I'm going to yell.
I'm going to yell right now, louder than I was yelling before.
Yeah. Not the university.
Not the university.
Actually going to yell at you.
Exactly. Anyway.
So, but he already moved out, and so this was his last boy to leave the house.
Sure.
So, and his oldest.
Yeah.
So, so before I left, my mom was like, pulled me to the side. She's like, "Man, your dad's having a hard time. Bob is having a hard time." She should say Bob. She's like, "Your dad's having a real tough time with this," and I kind of didn't believe her. I was just like, "What?" I was like, "Nah, no way." So before I left, they had prayer with me, and my dad started praying, started bawling.
No.
And I was like, "Dad, not now. I can't take this." I've got a drive from Roanoke to Orlando, Florida, which is not a short drive by any means. And I was like, "Oh no." Mom was right. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
So it kind of took me off guard. And so I was like, wow, that's like maybe the second time I've seen him cry ever in my life. And so which it was, I mean, obviously it was a sweet moment. So, but at the time I was just like, I didn't know how to react. So I just couldn't handle it. So
I know the feeling because like my dad was my dad's just like a tough guy.
Sure.
And there were times where like he was the rub some dirt on it, walk it off kind of guy. And
Right.
like I remember one time I was working with him and he made a comment of like, because I was complaining.
Yeah.
And he made a comment. He was like, "Well, son, you need to go down and go get some Raid." And I was like, "Raid? Like the ant spray or whatever?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, you need to spray some Raid on your feet so the ants don't crawl up and eat your candy ass." And he would, like he would always like just pick at you if you weren't being manly.
Yeah.
And I remember like we talked about this the other night. Like he would always be like, "What kind of daggum man don't carry a pocket knife with him?"
Yeah.
And I didn't really carry a pocket knife till I got older.
Right.
And then now I carry one, and Of the story I was telling us, me and Sarah Carter went to go to the Coke factory and the aquarium and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And
which you love, by the way.
One time.
For 20 minutes.
I love the aquarium. One time, people. I don't need a season pass to go see a dang whale that I can see in 4K on YouTube. Now, if you let me swim with it.
Right, yeah.
Whatever.
The beluga whale.
Yeah. But so, okay, at the aquarium, you have to park like a ways away and then go down. And
I don't know. I play there, so.
For those who don't play there, you park in a parking deck and then you have to walk
such an a-hole.
100 yards at least to get to the elevator.
Sure, yeah.
Then you have to go down the elevator and then you have to walk another, what seems like a mile.
Right.
And then this was actually the week before Christmas and New Year's, which I don't recommend anyone ever going into Atlanta during that time.
So it was in between?
It was in between. National championship was going on that week.
Oh, wow.
There were so many people. I cannot stress you.
So it was the Bama Georgia weekend?
It could have been. I don't remember. That's 2017, 18?
17, I think.
Yeah. It was a lot.
Yeah.
So we're standing in line, right? About to go in the Coke factory. We've been standing in line for a while.
Yeah.
And I look up and I see a sign that says, absolutely no weapons, no knives, no guns, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, yeah, duh. And I was like, oh, I have my knife.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is that I have my knife from Germany. Like that I bought from Germany.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you ain't taking this from me. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So I told Sarah Carter I'll be right back. She said, you can't go away to the car. That's like such a long way. Blah, blah. Just throw it away. I said, I'm not throwing away my knife.
Right.
And so I walked. There's like a little kids' playground, and no one was around there. And so I just got on my hands and knees. No one was watching. And I just dug this hole into I think it was wood chips. Just dug a hole in the wood chips.
Yeah.
Lay my knife. And I put the chips back over it.
Wow.
And I walked back. Went and did the Coke factory and the aquarium for hours.
This is the Coca-Cola factory, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not the cocaine factory.
Which is in Columbia.
Yeah.
Right. Got it. Columbia, South Carolina.
But then when we were leaving, going back, I just went to the playground again.
Yeah.
And I had, remembered the spot. I think I took a picture of it on my phone.
Right.
Dug it back up, got my knife, put it back in.
Yeah.
So all that to say,
So no kid killed it.
my dad was he made dang sure I grew up to be a man.
Sure.
And maybe some of the classic man stuff that doesn't really matter, but hey, whatever you think about it is exactly what happened.
That's what I should have done when I went to Mercedes-Benz for the first time. My buddy Dennis had gave me his tickets to the Dallas Cowboy Atlanta Falcons game at the new stadium, which I had never been to.
Yeah.
Plus, I had never been to a Dallas game, and that's my team.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 birds, 1 giant stone.
Yeah.
And so I go there, and so as soon as I get to the security point, I have had the cigar cutter that folds out into scissors, which you've seen. Very cool.
And used a lot.
Yes, absolutely. Always kept it on my keychain. Now, mind you, I've been through Atlanta's airport security numerous times, at least 30 or 40 times with this thing on there.
Yeah.
They never questioned it. They may have pulled it out one time and just be like, what's this? It's like, oh, it's a cigar cutter. And they're like, oh, okay. And threw it back in there. That's it. No trouble. I go to my first game of Mercedes-Benz. Mug takes it. And I was like, is there any way I can get that back? And he's like, and he didn't answer me because he just kept talking. He was just like, just move along, please. And I was like, so before I left, I had to get my, slide comment in there. So I was just like, well, enjoy that cigar cutter if you smoke because it's real nice.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah.
And never got it back. And that pissed me off to no end.
I'm going to keep this
But the game was cool.
I'm going to keep this quick because
Dallas won.
I don't want to make this episode about confrontation.
Yeah.
But I remember LAX. I'm going to keep this real short. I had coffee beans that I bought in LA.
Yeah.
Wanted to take them back. Went through airport security, pulled me aside. I had no idea what was going on. Had to do with the coffee bags.
Yeah.
This dude, all right, he goes, "Sir, what are you planning on doing with these coffee beans?" Okay. You don't say something like that to me.
Right.
Because this is what I said back. I said,
Yeah.
"Seriously?" And he said, "I'm not joking." I said, "Okay, well then I'm just going to say it. I'm going to make coffee with those coffee beans." He goes, "Are you being a smart aleck?" I said, "No, they're coffee beans."
You're answering a stupid question.
Yeah.
Which comes from a straight answer, but you think it's stupid.
Yeah. And
So
I said, "Sir, I bought these coffee beans. If you want to throw them away, throw them away. I got a flight to catch. But otherwise, they're just, smell them. Open it, smell them. They're coffee beans."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay, blah, blah." But it was just funny because he was like, "What do you plan on doing with these coffee beans?" It's like, well, I have a coffee bean collection. Actually, there's a USB drive in the middle of that coffee.
plus you were
drive.
flying domestic.
Come on.
What in the world?
Yeah. Anyway. So
Yeah, that's dumb.
all that to say, I know how you feel because when I saw my dad cry, man, I didn't know what to do because one of the other things he trained me to do, I actually did this when you got into your wreck too, which we'll probably talk about that in another episode.
We're going to talk about that when Rudy's here.
Yeah, because there's a lot to that.
For sure.
But everyone just know Nathan and Rudy were in a wreck and it was very scary.
Yeah.
Well, on the way down to see if you're okay, I called my dad and I told my dad what was going on. And he told me, he said, "Son, you need to be the calm presence today because everyone else is not going to be calm and you can freak out after. But, one of the things that he did, the role he played and the role that I've tended to play in my life is the calm presence when panic happens.
Yeah.
And, then you can be emotional after. And
Right.
that day was so difficult for me because I was really worried about you.
Yeah.
And,
was bad.
But when
It
I
was
got
bad.
there, I was super calm.
Yeah.
And your mom came and hugged me and your dad came. Everyone was kind of hectic and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I was the one that was like calm and collected and cool.
Yeah.
And I walked in, I think I said,
Well, my mother, she's not going to be calm cool.
I walked in and you saw me. And the first thing I did was make a joke.
Right.
And I remember you telling me, "Thank you for making you laugh."
Oh.
Because my whole thing was, I know you, and
Yeah.
I knew things were too serious for you.
Right.
I know you like to break it up with comedy, and
Yeah.
things were just too real for you and too
Sure.
serious, and you were scared. So I just walked in, and I think I said something like, "You filled that bedpan up yet?" or something like just something dumb, or like,
Yeah.
"Have they bathed you yet? How was that?"
Look at here, Nathan, it's Cowboy JT. I heard about your bad day. But we got the whole church praying, and I was talking to, "Hey, Darlene, what's Leroy's cousin?" I was talking to Jeffrey, and his wife, she's going to make you a loaf of bread.
And you just smiled and you just said, "Thank you for making me laugh." You
Yeah.
probably don't remember this, but it
was blurry for sure.
that's kind of who I've always been.
Yeah.
And so when I saw Dad not be the calm presence, I've only seen it once,
Yeah.
but when I saw it once, I was wrecked,
Yeah.
So, but in a good way, man.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
wrecked because I shouldn't have been that way.
Right.
And he shouldn't have been that way.
Yeah.
But, there's good and bad to it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so Nate,
Hey.
I think we're done.
All right.
Me and you.
Was this number 12?
No, I mean, this is serious.
Oh, we're done.
We're done for today. Did I
You got me.
go, it got to go too far?
You got me.
No, this is going to be here for a while. But it's been a good one. This is episode 12.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Braves are starting in a couple weeks, man. Which I've already watched a little bit of the spring training. We've got our Smoltzy book.
He lives in the neighborhood next to me, by the way.
Are you serious?
Yes. Now, these neighborhoods are very, very different.
Come on, let's get the same size house as a Hall of Famer.
No.
Yes, you do.
Oh, here we go.
Well, I got to get my dadgum.
You heard Braves, didn't you, Cowboy
Here we
JT?
go. Y'all talking about the Braves, boy?
We are, sir.
I tell you what, man.
Welcome.
I remember
to the show.
Who you talking about? Which Brave you talking about?
Smoltz.
Smoltz.
Oh, Smoltzy.
Yeah, I remember one time I seen Smoltz. I passed out.
Oh, yeah.
I passed out right there. In the game. I had me a Miller Lite and a hot dog, mustard all over that daggone thing, and I had mustard on my shirt the next day.
I know you in mustard.
And I got to work the next day, and my boss said, "Boy, what's that on your shirt?" I said, "What's that your concern?" He said, "Well, you know, we want you looking nice at work." I said, "It's John Smoltz's fault." Because I ran into him, I froze, I dropped my hot dog on my daggum shirt, and
it happens.
You know, pretty much every Brave story I got, there's a hot dog involved.
Right.
So,
as there should be.
I miss old John Smoltz.
Yep. He's a good announcer, though.
You want a hot dog?
I want a hot dog smothered in mustard.
Smothered.
I want a hot dog smothered in relish and mustard.
You want a hot dog and mustard, boy?
Hi.
Hey. Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
I love it.
What you like on your hot dog?
Oh, hot dog smothered in mustard or relish.
Hey, this is my kind of boy right here now.
Come on.
What's your name?
Harry Carey.
Harry Carey.
Or Harry Carey.
You like baseball?
Oh, yes.
What's your favorite team?
Go Cubs.
Suck it. The Braves are the best, boy. All right.
Cubs win. Cubs win.
All right, y'all. Have a great week in the Lord.
Love you bunches.
Toodles.
Bye.
Bye.